What I got wrong. A couple things here. We talked about the Packers wide receivers as far as matchups go. Packers wide receivers was man coverage. Minka Fitzpatrick's not there, not playing center field, so you know you're gonna have these opportunities. Um, I think the team should come away from this feeling really good about their ability to separate from their man coverage for the most part. I'm sure they missed opportunities for sure. They're not going to lose, but the Steelers are going to lose every time, right? But you gave yourself opportunities to be successful in the passing game for sure. Got to connect on the longer plays more often. That's a multiple level. Like that's not just the receiver. That's not just the quarterback. It's a combination of a couple different things. Number two, one of the matchups that I don't know that I got wrong about it. We just talked that it was important. The Steelers gap scheme versus the Packers front. They ran a gap in a ton of zone and lead zone, and they just the thing that you watched last week again. You go, why are we not shooting the gap? Like, why are we not being downhill aggressive? We're laterally. That's catching. You go lateral, you catch. I don't get that. It's not for me. But we got hammered 205 yards on the ground, 5.7 yards per carry. And it was, I could show plays all day where it's like 5 yards, 6 yards, 4 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards. It's all you can eat for those guys. Ran all over us. And again, I don't think it is a personnel problem. I've thought that in the past. Today was not a personnel problem because if you watch the tape, if you move laterally, they'll beat you. It's on the film. They got a tight end that can block your defensive end. It's on the film. Got to be smart. Jordan Love versus Kenny Pickett. Best stats going to win. Jordan's got the numbers. Kenny gets about half the reps, a little over half the reps from a passing standpoint. Turnover margin was huge. Ran a super clean operation for most of the day. Both guys only got sacked once. You lost the turnover battle. They're relying on the run game, clean operation. So, you call it what it is. 2 turnovers is a bad deal. I know the last one at the end of the game. Let's not even count it. But turnover in the end zone kind of feels like a game changer for this one. And we showed it. I'm not going to put that all on him. Keys to victory. Did we do these things? Did we stay ahead of the sticks? Well, the Steelers are usually about 50 or 45%, 55% offensive, defensive time of possession. They won the time of possession by like 30 seconds, but really they're running the ball so effectively. They're staying ahead of the sticks. They kind of did what our game plan was, and I'm sure it was their game plan as well. We moved the ball well at times, but it's the Steelers defense. You give up 375, 400 yards, total. You give up 20 points. Bend but don't break. So they let you move it. But we're in the red zone 5 times. You come away with 1 touchdown. You're 20% red zone efficient. That is not going to win any games. Number 2, do you win the physical battle up front? You got your gap schemes on their side, some dudes that know how to play. You got some heavy hitters on defense at especially the first 2 levels of football. Okay? You have to establish a dominant mindset early. Defensively, we talked about it. For whatever reason, it felt like they were on their heels all day. I thought you saw guys like Reef. You guys saw some guys trying to make some physical plays, but they were overwhelmed up front. And that's for a number of reasons. I thought the Steelers' offensive line played well. I think bringing in the Georgia kids make a big difference to that team. That's for sure. And offensively, you just look at it realistically. You take away the 40-yard run, and you are averaging like 3.1 yards per carry. And I know, like, Mike, you can't do that. Well, dude, we played the Rams in St. Louis one year, and we had 130 yards on the ground, and 85 of them or something were from one run from Najee. And we got on the bus. We all felt like a bunch of losers because we know we just got our asses handed to us, right? Well, it says you ran. No, we didn't, dude. That's not how it works. So the consistency matters, right? It's not just can you get over 100 yards. It's you got to be consistent. And if you're getting 1 yard, 3 yards, you keep putting yourself in a position where it's 2nd and 8, 3rd and 7. It's a really, really tough way to play football. The third thing was make Pickett be the hero. Make offensive coordinator Matt Canada be the hero. He's been on the hot seat. People are not liking what he's doing. And I don't think this is what we failed at the most to me. We didn't do this at all. Pickett just became a game manager, which is what they want. Canada and his staff, they did such a good job at attacking the Packers defense. And they did it from just a number of a smaller number of personnel groupings and looks. We showed it. Motion over, play side, weak side, gap scheme, influence block, right? Pull the tackle, which we showed last week. Double trap wasn't a big deal this week. Take advantage of their motion. Like, just get really good at what they're going to do, and play, and so you can be attacking and aggressive against foot. I can't fathom why we were catching all day. It's crazy. And so, what are the takeaways here? It's just when you think you're starting to get it figured out, I think on the defensive standpoint, you give up 200 plus yards to the 24th ranked team in the league rushing standpoint. You just go, and it feels like you're not being as aggressive, you're not being as disciplined, and you can't really put your finger as to why. And I think the other takeaway is, and for me, there's always misses in the draft, and there's always this and that, and it's too early to say that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, I thought and I think that, like, Luke Musgrave is a long-term really good tight end, and probably a prospect wise, just because we knew the passing game is probably better than Darnell Washington. But that's basing, if you're going to get rid of Mercedes Lewis, I don't know how we missed on this guy, man. He just makes a big difference in the way you can play football. We got a couple of listener questions. I started with, the Steelers are a lunch pail culture team, hard hat. We're going to be tough guys. What, gritty. What are the Packers? And, everyone's, we're soft for this and that. I don't buy that at all. It's like, here's what somebody said this, and I do agree with this at some point. I think the solutions to the problem are not pull the chin strap tighter. I think it's, let's see what we can draw up. Right. I think it's, let's not necessarily put in more work and get better at what we do. Let's draw something up that works. Right. And I think that's been vocalized by the head coach. Certainly that's what it appears to be on the field. But I think you do have a team with guys that pride themselves on have always been able to overcome the physical and mental strain of playing a very difficult sport. So I don't think it's a soft thing at all, but I do think you're a team searching for identity. I don't think you know what you want to be on offense yet. I don't think you really understand from week to week what you want to be on defense, as per this example this weekend. And we always knew what we were. We had a Hall of Fame quarterback, but we were really, really good up front. We felt like super confident that we could finish through the whistle. People were watching us and not worried about the tackling them on so much, worried about where we were coming from. We just played with a little bit of that. And listen, not the most talented group in the world, but you got to figure. It's like you got to lean into whatever you're really good at and talk about the end. Like, I knew I wasn't Orlando Pace or Walter Jones talented, but I could lean into the fact that I'll finish through the whistle and I can make you worry about me, right? Mike Flanagan wasn't the strongest guy in the world, but he could lean into the fact that he had the best hands in the business, right? So there's a lot of things he could kind of manipulate and get away with that would put other people in really bad situations on defense, right? And he's super intelligent, so he could make every call. We knew everything before it was going to happen. Like, you can go Tauscher, Javon Walker. You can just go down the line, right? Everybody know, like, you got to lean into what you're good at individually, and then that's how you form your culture. That cannot be inhibited, though. You have to, as a team, explore, express, and celebrate what these guys are good at individually and let them lean into that more. Exploit what you're good at. Don't try to be kind of average at everything. Dude, if you're special in something, be exceptional at something. Another question. How many mental errors are in one game? And in these games, I would love to see a play sheet, and it's, they have like an assignment and execution grade. It's like plus minus. I would love to see what that looks like on a week-to-week basis. I don't know. I can't even fathom what the numbers are, but I'm sure it varies week to week. I'm sure it's probably pretty volatile. I honestly can't even fathom what that would look like. And I'm not saying that it's particularly high. Sometimes when you watch, you go, close my eyes a little bit. I'm not sure what that looks like. Why can't the defense get it together in the run game? Listen, angry people ask, angry kind of direct questions. And I think we already explored it, right? It's philosophically, it looks like you almost changed who you were. Even if you're going to play louder, like play a laterally attacking defense, especially you're in nickel a lot this game. And, you get two down, defensive tackles in the game. You can play downhill a little bit more, like give him the opportunity to be successful. Like Kenny Clark can push people off the line of scrimmage and he's not, then it's like he's probably being told to do something else. I just don't think there's anybody on their line that can just stop him from doing that, 10 times a game. What's the biggest area of need for Green Bay in the draft? That's a great question. And I would spend, look, if it was me and I'm an offensive lineman, I would look at the Philadelphia Eagles and not know what Jordan Love's going to be, but go like, I know he's going to be our guy for a couple of years. And I think he's showing that he's talented enough you got to maybe need somebody else to work with him. I don't know, but I think you got something there and you got young receiver. I would be spending draft picks and capital on linemen like you would not believe. I would just go buy the best offensive and defensive lines I could. And I think they're on their way. I think they, you go get up like the San Francisco 49ers. Look at their defensive line. I mean, they just picked up Chase Young. I mean, are you kidding me? Javon Hargraves in the offseason? Are you kidding? And they just keep Randy Gregory. You can't get enough good guys. And I don't know why we don't do that. And I think part of it is like they don't have the culture to do that yet, maybe with this team. Like that's a team that's an established defensive line badass group that has a culture. No matter who you bring in, they're gonna wreck. Same thing with the Eagles. They felt very confident bringing in their first round draft pick this year because their first round draft pick last year. Right. So they feel they have that culture. I don't know if we have that or not, but God, you hope they get it soon because that's where you invest your money. And then this is a short answer for me. 3-6 is time to start trying out players. No. These are professionals that have something to play for. These are coaches that are fighting for their jobs. This is not a throwaway season because you are evaluating everybody who's on your roster. If you think they should be trying out, to me, is giving up, right? These coaches need to prove that they can win with the people who are on the field or at least put them in a position to win. If they can't execute, that's the tryout, right? But we're not doing both of those things equally. So that's what I got. Listen, we'll be back this Thursday, previewing the Packers' next matchup. Who's just slipped my mind? Oh, playing the Chargers. Just scored 38 and lost to the Lions. That'll be a good game. Anyhow, guys, check me out on Michael68 on Twitter, Posses to Perform on Instagram. As always, please subscribe and review on the show if you're enjoying it. Click the like button, all that stuff. And we will